Imagine a mountain climber. For years, she dedicates her entire being to a single, all-consuming goal, to reach the summit of a formidable, unconquered peak. She sacrifices comfort, endures hardship, hones her skills, and pushes her body and mind to their absolute limits. Her entire life is organized around this singular purpose. Finally, after a grueling final ascent, she stands there, on the summit, alone above the clouds. She has done it. She has achieved the impossible. The world would call her a success, but as the adrenaline fades and the cold, thin air fills her lungs, a strange and unwelcome feeling begins to creep in. It's not the triumphant, lasting joy she had envisioned for all those years. It is a quiet, hollow, and deeply unsettling sense of emptiness. A profound and disorienting question echoes in the silence. What now? Welcome to Existential Psychology Insights. I know this feeling, in some form, resonates with many of you, and it's a topic I've wanted to explore for a long time. If you find these kinds of deep dives into the human condition valuable, I want to personally invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future explorations. Today, we are tackling one of the most poignant and confusing paradoxes of modern life, the misery of success. We will be conducting an existential analysis of why the attainment of our most cherished goals, the promotion, the degree, the financial target, the public recognition, can so often leave us feeling more lost and unhappy than we were during the struggle itself. This is not to say that achievement is bad, but to understand why a life defined only by the pursuit of external success is a blueprint for existential disappointment. At the heart of this phenomenon lies a powerful psychological trap known as the arrival fallacy. This is the deeply ingrained and culturally reinforced belief that once we arrive at a certain destination, a specific goal or milestone, we will also arrive at a permanent state of happiness and contentment. We tell ourselves stories. I will finally be happy when I get that promotion. I will feel secure and fulfilled when I buy that house. My life will truly begin when I find the perfect partner. We tether our entire sense of well-being to a future event. This does two destructive things. First, it forces us to live in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction with the present. The now becomes merely an obstacle, a waiting room we must endure on our way to the real life that awaits us at the finish line. We sacrifice the process for the prize. Second, it sets up an impossible expectation. No single event, no matter how wonderful, can bear the weight of providing permanent happiness. When we finally do arrive at our goal, there is often an initial rush of euphoria. But this rush, driven by dopamine and relief, is always temporary. The hedonic treadmill kicks in, and our emotional state quickly returns to its baseline. And what we are left with is not the promised land of eternal contentment, but a shocking and disorienting void. The singular purpose that organized our entire life, that gave us direction and meaning, is now gone, and we are left on the lonely summit with that terrifying question: what now? This is the what now syndrome, an existential crisis born not of failure, but of success. This reveals a fundamental truth about human psychology that is often overlooked in our goal-obsessed culture. Our well-being and sense of meaning are often more deeply connected to the process of striving than to the moment of attainment. A human being, from an existential perspective, is a purpose-seeking creature. We thrive when we are engaged in a meaningful struggle, when we are actively moving towards a valued goal. The process of learning, growing, overcoming obstacles, and exercising our capabilities is what truly nourishes the soul. The goal itself is often just the catalyst, the excuse to engage in this meaningful process. When the goal is achieved, the process ends, and unless a new, meaningful process is found, emptiness rushes in to fill the vacuum. This problem is compounded when the mountain we choose to climb is not even our own. So often, the goals we chase are not born from our authentic core values. They are goals that have been prescribed to us by society, by our parents, by our culture. We climb the ladder of corporate success, or academic prestige, or material wealth because that is what we have been told a successful person does. This is the path of the inauthentic climb. We might be incredibly skilled at climbing. We might even reach the top faster than anyone else. But when we get there, we have the horrifying realization that our ladder was leaning against the wrong wall the entire time. The victory feels hollow because it was never truly ours. It was a performance, an attempt to win the approval of others by fulfilling their definition of success. And no amount of external validation can fill an internal void created by a life of inauthenticity. Furthermore, we must conduct an honest audit of what is often sacrificed on the altar of this conventional success. In the relentless pursuit of a singular, often professional goal, what parts of ourselves do we let atrophy and die? We sacrifice time with loved ones, damaging the very relationships that provide the deepest experiential meaning. We sacrifice our physical and mental health, treating our bodies like machines in service of the goal. We sacrifice our hobbies, our passions, our creative impulses, the very things that express our unique being. We arrive at the summit, successful by all external measures, but we are a diminished, fragmented version of ourselves. We have won the race, but we have lost our soul in the process. So, how do we escape this trap? How do we build a life where achievement and fulfillment are not at odds? The solution lies in a radical redefinition of success. An existential definition of success is not measured by external accolades, but by internal alignment. A successful life is an authentic life. It is a life lived in accordance with your own consciously chosen values. This means the first and most crucial step is the deep, often difficult work of identifying what those values are. What truly matters to you beyond what you have been told should matter? Is it creativity, connection, compassion, growth, wisdom? Once you have your inner compass, you can begin to choose goals that are authentic expressions of those values. The goal is no longer just a destination, but a meaningful direction. This shifts everything. The process of striving itself becomes the reward, because every step you take is an affirmation of who you truly are. This also means embracing a portfolio approach to a meaningful life. Instead of a single, all-consuming mountain, you cultivate a rich and varied landscape. You pursue a career that aligns with your values, but you also intentionally cultivate your relationships, your health, your creative passions, and your intellectual growth. Success is not a single peak, but a flourishing ecosystem of meaningful engagement across all the domains of a whole human life. This requires a conscious rejection of the arrival fallacy. You must find joy and meaning in the daily process, in the act of striving, in the learning and the growth that comes from the climb itself. You must celebrate the effort, not just the outcome. This is the path to a success that does not leave you empty. It is the path to building a life so rich in meaning, so aligned with your authentic self, that when you reach one summit, you do not feel the dread of the void. You simply look out at the vast, beautiful landscape of your life and choose the next meaningful mountain to climb.